Hi everyone. Tonight's story is called Nobody Hugs a Cactus, and it's by Carter Goodrich. Hank lived in a pot. The pot sat in a window. The window looked out at the empty desert. It was hot, dry, peaceful, and quiet, just the way Hank liked it. But every now and then, somebody would interrupt Hank's peace and quiet. "Hi, Hank," Rosie the tumbleweed called out. "Isn't it a beautiful day?" Hank ignored her. He just wanted to be left alone. "Okay, so long," said Rosie cheerfully, and she tumbled away. Hank was happy again. See him all happy. But just as he was beginning to relax, "Hello," shouted a tortoise. "Private property," yelled Hank. "Keep out." The tortoise was so frightened, he hid in his shell. Poor tortoise. Hank was still yelling at the tortoise when a jackrabbit dashed by. "Hiya, Prickles," she shouted. "My name isn't Prickles," Hank yelled back, "and stay out of my yard." "Tumbleweeds, tortoises, jackrabbits, what's next?" said Hank. A coyote came loping by. "No dogs allowed," Hank yelled. "I'm not a dog," said the coyote, "and you are as prickly on the inside as you are on the outside." Look at his super angry face. He's very prickly. Before Hank could yell back at the coyote, a cowboy strode past. "Keep off the grass," shouted Hank. "What grass?" said the cowboy. "Seems to be somebody needs a hug. Too bad nobody hugs a cactus." "Hi," said a lizard. "Who invited you?" said Hank. "And just in case you're wondering, I don't want a hug." "That's good," said the lizard, "because I don't want to give you one." And then he skittered away. An owl landed on the roof. If you're looking for a hug," said Hank, "well, I guess I could give you one." "Who, me?" said the owl. "You must be joking." And for the first time, Hank began to feel a little lonely. See his sad face? He went from an angry face to a sad face. Yeah. The next morning, Hank was feeling more sad on the inside than prickly. Maybe a hug wouldn't be so bad after all. The wind began to pick up. An old cup blew by and stuck to Hank's face. His arms were too short to get it off. "Great," said Hank. After a while, Rosie came bouncing by. "I'll get it off you, Hank," she shouted, and she jumped up to knock the cup off Hank's face. And then she tumbled away. Hank didn't have time to thank Rosie. He felt bad about all the other times he had been so rude to her. So he came up with a plan. Look at the tortoise still there, afraid. That's funny. Forgot about that. Hank decided to grow the best flower he could and then give it to Rosie as a thank you gift. It took days, but at last it was ready. He couldn't wait for Rosie to pass by again. When at last she finally did come bouncing back, Hank held out the flower. "Look, Rosie," he said. "I grew it just for you." Look at his happy face. He's not prickly or sad anymore. Rosie was so surprised. She jumped up and gave Hank a great big hug. It felt so nice, Hank didn't want to let go. And as things turned out, he couldn't. Rosie and Hank had become stuck together. But they didn't care. After all, it's better to be stuck in a hug than stuck all alone. And now I would say his face is content. So he went from angry to sad to content. And he used the word prickly, right? Somebody said, the cowboy said he was prickly on the inside and on the outside. And I think sometimes when I feel prickly on the inside, which means I feel maybe lonely or sad, then it comes out. Like maybe I say things to people or do things to people that aren't quite lovely. And maybe what I really need is like a hug, or I want them to love me, right? And so this is what I did. I made a little heart that says hug, ? And so I'm gonna leave this on our dining room table. And my daughter's filming this right now. She just made a face. I'm gonna leave it on the dining room table so that maybe when we're feeling prickly on the inside and we're acting prickly on the outside, like the cactus did, we could just share it with one another. And we could say, you know, maybe what I need is a hug instead of acting prickly. So maybe you could make one of these for your family or for yourself. And when you're feeling a little prickly or someone else is feeling prickly, you could just ask them, do you want a hug? Or can I have a hug? It's a good way of asking if you don't have the words. Because, you know, the cactus, Hank didn't have any words to ask for a hug. He was just so prickly. But he really needed friends and a hug. So that's what I'm going to do. I hope that you find a way to manage your things, your prickliness, when you can, because we all get prickly. It happens. Okay? I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.